Welcome to BI TV, your fortnightly recap of business intelligence and analytics news, views and reviews. The first story that caught our eye over the past fortnight was written by renowned industry reporter Stephen Sawyer on tdwi.org and was entitled "What Makes or Breaks BI Success?" Now basically, Sawyer is claiming that there's a dawning of a new era in BI with fresh challenges to BI success. Now, it was based on BI Scorecard's new study, which was called Successful BI Survey, which was authored by independent industry analyst Cindy Howson. Now, in these types of studies, the number one challenge has always been reported as data quality. And this wasn't the case though. That ranked third. This year, hard to use BI tools ranked second, and challenges involved in combining and analysing data from different sources ranked 1. Now, Howson claims that this signals the beginning of a new multi-source consumer-oriented BI era. Now, combining different data types and data sources together for reporting purposes was described as essential by 44% of survey respondents, but data access is only part of the story. 24% said that their BI tools weren't easy enough to use, and Howson said that while many BI tools have matured to the point that they can provide access to information, exploration and analysis capabilities, that half of it continues to differ in quality. The full article can be viewed on the TDWI website, and to find out more about Howson's successful BI survey, check out biscorecard.com. Off the back of our first article, we found another one that was around success and BI, and it was entitled Best Practice Tips for Business Intelligence Success. And it was written by Martha Bennett and Boris Evelson, both principal analysts for advisory firm Forrester Research, and this appeared on computerweekly.com. Now, the article admits that organisations know the value of BI in this technologically shifting and economically uncertain time, but putting in place processes and tools required to deliver effective and efficient reporting and analytics to decision makers is an ongoing challenge. And it found that the majority of organisations continue to struggle to get the desired value out of their BI environments. Now, this article is another good read, and it combines with Bennett's blog to offer 6 key best practices for achieving BI success, as well as 6 common project pitfalls to avoid. Now, the next article that we came across was penned by Graham Odds, and it appeared on netmagazine.com, and it was called The Science Behind Data Visualization. Now, data visualization is arguably the most important process in BI and analytics. It's how you communicate the significance of data to end users who can then hopefully act on that information in order to make better, faster, smarter decisions. And in true actions speak louder than words style, Odds employs a number of highly communicative data visualizations to literally illustrate his points. Now, Odds discusses the difference between the conscious and the subconscious minds and how we can best engage both with effective data visualizations to quickly communicate potentially complex information. Now, it goes on to talk about why visualization is the best way and means for communicating complex information. It says that a significant amount of the human brain is dedicated to visual, conscious and subconscious information processing, and it goes on to say that in fact 70% of the body's sense receptors relate to sight. Now, the interrelation between bottom-up or visual working memory and top-down or long-term memory is discussed, and the process in interpreting visual information is discussed in that context, and the importance of engaging both types of brain function. And it says to achieve maximum visual effectiveness, we should seek to develop visualizations that encode as much information as possible in pre-attentive features which are processed by our subconscious or our visual working memory. Now, why is this important? Well, it says because engaging our subconscious is the best way to transfer information. It reduces the need for us to consciously decipher how to interpret information. It's an extremely informative read, and it's very useful for anyone working in the business analytics space. Now, sticking with data visualization for a minute, we came across an article that provided a really interesting history of and Q&A with graphics guru Edward Tuft on ftmagazine.com. Now, Tuft and his work is so often referenced in the BI industry in relation to data visualization, so it's useful to get yourself acquainted with the man himself. Now, the article was written by FT Science editor Clive Cookson, and it offers a roadmap of Tuft's rise to relative fame as well as a window into what he perceives as the most important elements in the art-cum-science field of visualization. The next article that we want to discuss is an opinion piece that was written by a staff writer on itnewsafrica.com, and it was entitled Business Intelligence, the 4 Worst Practices. Now, for the sake of diversity, it's good to take a look at some worst practices and get some non-Western perspectives on today's big reporting and analytics challenges. Now, the first worst practice listed is assuming the average business user has the know-how all the time to use BI tools. The second point talks about allowing Excel to become the default BI platform, and it quotes research and case study examples from the European Spreadsheet Risks Interest Group regarding the impacts of having dodgy data in Excel spreadsheets. And one of the examples it uses is the fact that incorrect estimates caused by spreadsheet calculation errors will cost the municipality of West Baraboo an additional $400,000 in interest over the life of its most recent 10-year borrowing plan. The third point is that assuming a data warehouse will solve all your information access and delivery requirements can be a pitfall. And lastly, you should not select a BI tool if you don't have a specific business need in mind. Now, big data is a fairly inescapable issue in the industry at the moment. And John Myers, Senior Analyst for BI at consultancy Enterprise Management and Associates, tries to disperse the hot air around the topic in his Beyond the Big Data Hype video interview on informationmanagement.com. Now, the 8-minute video was compiled during the 2013 TDWI World Conference in Las Vegas. And he made a couple of really interesting points. I won't spoil it for you, but I'll run through a couple of them with you now. He said that big data is both very valuable but very overhyped as well. And he discusses some of the general types of use cases around big data to try and contextualise its usefulness. He says that the major challenge in big data, as he perceives it, is in how we effectively utilise it, and what he means by that is how we apply lessons learned from moving from operational systems to analytical platforms, and from analytical platforms into multi-structured platforms. And lastly, he talks about how big data analytics is still in its infancy, but then he gives it some context as well and discusses some of the intriguing early use cases. One of them is around crop insurance, but I won't spoil it now. You can follow the URL on the Yellowfin website to check this video out, as well as others recorded at the 2013 TDWI World Conference in Las Vegas, including social analytics in the enterprise, BI and mobile users, and women in BI. Now, you've often heard us speak about collaboration in business intelligence as well, and it's an ongoing issue and it's something that's probably always going to be important. So we came across an article that was called Collaboration is Key to Business Intelligence Tool Implementations on searchbusinessanalytics.com that we thought was quite useful, and it was written by site editor Ed Burns. Now, Burns cites recent research that reveals that humans, rather than technology, are actually the main cause behind BI initiatives failing to achieve the desired business impact. And while the issue is essentially that the main reason for underperformance is the fact that IT and a business have a disconnect, and that still exists in many companies. Burns offers a 4-point plan to facilitate better business IT collaboration to, as he says, keep everyone on the same page during the development and implementation of a BI system. The first point, he says, is use Agile development methodologies, and he says this is useful because it helps to bring users into close contact with both IT and BI teams. He says to communicate effectively in business terms, aka ban the techno-babble. Thirdly, he says select a dedicated BI champion, and so that's someone who can serve as a bridge between IT and business worlds. And lastly, he says consider where a BI program resides or reports to, and so he means that you need to decide who has ownership over the project and its ultimate direction. Now, as usual, we like to leave you with some sort of interactive piece, and we found a really interesting quiz called Big Data Analytics Tools and Best Practices on searchbusinessanalytics.com, which was compiled by Melanie Luna. Now, there's more to big data than just collecting, storing and managing it. Organisations need to implement effective big data analytics strategies, and this test is a test of your knowledge of big data analytics tools and best practices associated with big data analytics. So take the quiz and check your results after to see how you did. Well, We're out of time again. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time for another instalment of BI TV.